So I've started recording, and then we'll just try Saint again.
I'm just trying to debug it with them. I
Okay.
can probably start the chat while Saint
Okay.
figuring that out.
Okay. So hey everyone, welcome to the second monthly installment of Orcanautical AMA. So this time we have, instead of just one person talking, we actually have a whole panel. So I will not be doing a lot of introducing myself because I think our team here is much more capable of sharing their backgrounds, and also we'll be getting to know each other a little bit on this AMA. And since we have a pretty small team, I think we'll do a short round of chit chat, and then for everyone else who wants to join in and on audio, please feel free to raise your hand later, and feel free to join. So on the panel today, we have the Pixelnaut team, who are actually community members, who just brought you guys the game, the mini game under Orca. So if you go to info, if you go to Orcanauts, that's the game. And then we also have John, who has been contributing as a great contributor to the Orca team and to the Pixelnaut team since very early on in Orca days. And then hopefully, we have Saint, so he has joined our panel. And Saint, are you able to kind of chat?
I am indeed. Hello.
Okay, hi. All right, so maybe we'll do this. Let's start with the Pixelnaut team. So Matt and Adi, would you like to maybe introduce yourself a little bit and maybe share a bit about how long you've been involved in crypto? Maybe Adi, you want to come first?
Yeah, sure. Hey everyone. So I'm Adi. And have been working on Pixelnauts. It's been a lot of fun. And how did I get into crypto? So I got into crypto a while ago, but didn't get into Solana until like the middle of this past summer, because like a bunch of people have been kind of like telling me about it, and it's like, check it out, and eventually did, and just kind of I just really wanted to like get into the ecosystem and like meet people and just kind of like try and build something and try and like contribute to whatever's being built, and Orca was like the first was the first community that I joined on Solana, which I'm really happy about. And I think I like heard about you guys on I think Anatoly did a podcast.
Yeah. Really early on, right? Before we even fair launched. Yeah,
I think I heard about you guys there, and so I was just kind of playing around in the ecosystem. Like Orca was the first DEX that I used, and then the first NFT that I bought, and have just been around since and wanted to contribute.
Awesome. Thanks, Adi. How about you? Do you prefer Matt or Fuzzy Eddie?
Yeah, Matt's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have been following crypto maybe from 2013 from the beginning, but just on the sidelines. So reading about it, learning about the technology, even like spinning up some validators on my own to play with, but never actually putting fiat into it and actually getting involved in the community. And different reasons for that. Part of it had kind of a negative image about what people were using it for with Silk Road and things like that at the beginning. And every few years I would look into it and eventually saw Ethereum come out, and then thought the smart contracts were really awesome, and followed the DAO as it blew up, and then it kind of exploded, but never really jumped in at that point either. But then looking at it again, like this summer, this fall, the kind of time frame, I was amazed at how many applications people had been building on top of smart contracts.
Yeah.
Like when I was seeing it at first, I couldn't really picture what was going to happen, but I knew something big would happen from them. And then about a year ago, could see definitely it's happening. So tried to jump in. So I jumped into Ethereum, and then I didn't have the nerve to pay the gas fees at the time. And I actually heard the same podcast that Adi heard,
Okay.
and was impressed by the positivity. I didn't like the negative uses for crypto. It seemed like Orca was committed to making the world a better place. The donations and things like that. And then it was also the first NFT that I bought.
Oh.
And yeah. So I had a friend that was messing around in the Ethereum ecosystem, and he mentioned that he's got involved in a project by buying an NFT and getting involved with the community. And I thought, hey, that sounds great. So I bought one and got in, verified in the Discord, and just started trying to write a little bit of code, and then got together with Adi that way.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it was such a serendipitous thing that you guys never met each other, and I think if it wasn't for Orcanauts, I don't know how you guys would have been able to encounter, right, and work together.
Right, definitely wouldn't have.
Yeah. Yeah, it was such a funny turn of events. I think Matt, I think you're my first internet friend in a while.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think I just started writing some code, but I didn't know what I wanted to build. He started making some art, but then and then it turned out they glued together very nicely.
Yeah.
So then we put out that demo. Kind of scared the moderators a little bit, trying to get people to connect a wallet to something related to Orcanauts.
Yeah, I think we, maybe it was Ori or someone else on the team, we kind of just noticed, I think it was Adi's pixelated demo, right? Or you guys working on it together. So we just kind of reached out and invited you guys to keep building on us. Since we do have a very small royalty income from the secondary sales, we wanted to put it to good use and encourage kind of more building. Yeah. So super
it was a great
glad.
opportunity.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we can talk more about the Pixelnaut kind of process later, but first wanted to also introduce Saint and also John. So we can go by whichever order, just to share a little bit about you and how you kind of got into crypto and what led you to where you are now with us.
Yeah, I guess I can. I'll go first. So, my name's John. I've been helping out the Orca folks building Orcanauts and the Orcanaut site and getting all the fun little integrations set up and lots of little things like that. Probably got started betting on sports back in the days when Bitcoin was worth $300 or something like that. Have some regrets, but that's why we are here the way that we are if we hadn't been using it. So that's what I like to tell myself. But kind of left it on the back burner until pretty recently. One of my buddies started working for Solana Labs and started drip feeding me some interesting technical problems to solve. And I realized how early it was, how much work there was to be done, especially in the technical space, especially bridging that gap between what the sort of system does and how it works with what we want to use it for. So fortunately for me, Ori, who's one of the co-founders of Orca, is a good friend of mine, former coworker. So figured it would be a good opportunity to jump in and learn some things on the go and help them build out Orcanauts.
Awesome. So Saint, you are a special guest. So you've also been kind of collaborating with Orca in a few different ways. So just wanted to let you introduce yourself to the community and how you've been working with Orca.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. Very excited. And to be next to all these other builders that I sort of hear, it's very inspiring. I think one of the things about crypto is that it brings people together that otherwise wouldn't have come together.
Yeah, totally.
And a lot of these guys wouldn't have met if not for Orca and some of the relationship they had with their friends who went to Solana Labs and Ori and this and that. I guess I am a late bloomer in crypto. I missed all of that early day fun that a lot of you guys were in. I only bought my first Bitcoin as late as December 2020. But once I did that, I kind of went down the rabbit hole, like obsessively. I thought it was a Ponzi before. It probably still is to some extent. But I went obsessively into ETH. I learned about smart contracts. And then, because I was kind of late to the scene and didn't pick up ETH at $100 or even $1,000 really, the gas prices were just a little bit too much for me to bear. So I started experimenting with Binance Smart Chain. Solana came along. And before you knew it, NFTs came along. And so after I bought my first NFT, similar to the experience that a lot of people probably have here, I realized that it's not just about the picture or paying, thousands of dollars for it, but it really is the community that you get out of it. People are real, communities are real, especially during a time, when the world was cut off from each other with COVID. And so I started writing threads on Twitter about the space, about Solana NFTs, about scams and things that I saw, and for one way or another, that kind of just took off in terms of people reading it. So I have a small little following that I'm very thankful for. And then in terms of how Orca, well, I got to know them through Jordan, who's a great guy, and what happened was through all of the learnings that I had, I decided to launch my own small NFT project called Cryptograph. It's an NFT project similar to Orcanauts, but if you have a Cryptograph NFT, you can draw on this giant interactive pixel canvas where everyone is drawing at the same time, and you're clicking and you're having a lot of fun. And not too long ago, we actually put together the first Genesis canvas where the holders had 7 days to fill out the canvas. We filled it out in 4. There's not a single white space on it, and Orca was part of that because Kiki and Ori also drew on that. So you'll find a little bunch of Orca whales and Orcanauts floating on that canvas. And what we end up going to do is turn that into an NFT, fractionalize it, and then drop it on everyone who drew on it. So for me, it was really about pushing the NFT space forward. Not just being about a picture, but having some different utility. And in this case, it's art utility.
Yeah, I think it was super cool. Oh, how come Saint disappeared from our chat?
Probably hit the wrong button there, but no, I'm done.
Okay, Saint, you're back. I don't know if you finished your sentence or not, but feel free to do so if you haven't.
I finished. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was really, really cool how everyone kind of got connected. So I'm actually, maybe I'll just introduce myself a little bit. I think before I spoke, because my name is KZ, people are not sure if I'm like male or female or otherwise. I'm female. And I go by Kiko, Kiko. If you can call me KZ or Kiko. And currently I'm the head of growth at Orca. But before kind of leading growth and kind of looking at growth strategy, marketing and community, I was more in the ops role. So doing operations is how I kind of got started with Orca. Just like John, I also knew Ori from actually our previous work. So Ori and I both worked for a kind of this global innovation consultancy, but in different studios. So she was in the Tokyo studio as a interaction designer and also a engineer, and I was leading operations in the Shanghai studio, and we kind of met each other just through some of these like kind of travel co-location retreat things, and it was during COVID time again, and I was looking for a change in my job, and Ori and Yutaro were looking for some help on the business side of things because they've built this really great product and we were receiving a lot of interest. So they needed help to kind of straighten out kind of the business part, the company part, all of the things that you would imagine like any regular startup has challenges on, but also has this like very special and interesting layer that is globalization and the distribution and the crypto. So a lot of like new and unknown. So it was a very interesting challenge, and I started working with them in May part-time, and I officially joined full-time last October. So I am one of the earlier members of Orca. And actually, today, so February 25th in our time zone, is actually Orca's 1 year anniversary since going on mainnet. So yeah, Orca has been around for a whole year. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. And then Sing also mentioned kind of the community side of things. So I think Orcanauts, when we first started building, we had a lot of different kind of ambitions for Orcanauts. We wanted to create a community with people who are not only loyal to our product, but also believed in the same things that we did. So as some of you guys have mentioned, like Orca and Orcanauts is not only about kind of the financial utility part of Orca decks, but we also want to really focus on the purpose-driven angle of Orca. So for me, before Orca, I didn't know anything about crypto. I didn't know anything about blockchain, but it's really the purpose-driven portion of the ideology of Orca that really brought me in, kind of being able to have the impact fund and being able to donate like 75% of our revenue for the Orcanaut Mint over to a charity that I really believe in myself. So I think those are things that are very important to me and what made me kind of want to really focus on building out the Orcanauts community going forward. Yeah, so how about you guys? I'm very curious. Like for example, John, I know that you have actively wanted to work on Orcanauts quite a bit. So I'm curious, like what drove you to that decision? Because you are a contributor to quite a few different protocols, right? But you are kind of prioritizing your time for Orcanauts in many ways.
Yeah, I think similar to what you said, Casey. Like there's something about the community that's really great. One, supporting Orca and the sort of the thought process. And I thought it was really important that Orca, or the Orca NFT project and Orcanauts themselves, were well thought through as to how they might interact with the protocol. Because I think a lot of other protocols have NFTs and they have different kinds of utility. And I think it really depends on the utility, like what sort of utility is provided. But I think that you can go a little bit too far, right? And so you can get to a point where, hey, this NFT is super expensive, and that's the only way to get something, some critical functionality, right? And that's sort of a little bit more exclusive than it needs to be. And so I think Ori, who came up with a lot of this stuff from the very beginning, wanted to make sure that we're placing it well. Like I think there's going to be some good stuff coming up pretty soon that I think is a great piece of proof there. But the other part that I thought was really interesting too about Orcanauts is like a lot of the folks here have said, everyone gets started somewhere, right? DeFi is not easy. DeFi is decentralized finance is just, there's a lot of different topics. You can very easily lose a lot of money if you don't understand what's going on. And I think that Orca spends a lot of energy making sure that it's an approachable topic. But the thing is that that's not someone's first step. Like someone who is just starting with crypto or just starting with Web3 is not going straight to the Orca DEX and like becoming a liquidity provider and getting Orca emissions, right? They start with something that they know, and they're going to start with something that is cute and approachable and, might be their very first step, right? And so for me, Orcanauts was that step. Like it might be the first way that you get exposed to DeFi. And if that first step is on Orca, like I'm happy, I feel good that that's that person's first step because they're learning. And the Orca team really cares about the educational part of that journey. So I think a lot of those things drew me into the project from the very beginning.
Yeah, we did a survey after the Orcanaut Mint finished, like within a few weeks, and it was true. Actually, a lot of people purchased or minted because of the education angle. Although I'm not quite sure how active the people who purchase for education are active in the communities, but yeah, I'm very curious to find out. So we'll figure out some ways to find out as well. So I guess Adi and Matt, you guys talked about this a little bit about kind of Orcanauts being your first NFT. And I'm wondering, what is the experience like contributing to community in this way? And kind of, yeah, like how's your experience been kind of building with John, working with us? Yeah.
Yeah, I could go first. Yeah, it's been really really cool. Like I've yeah, like
And you
I
can be
just really
candid. You
want.
don't have to say all good things. Like we can also learn
No.
from this experience too.
Okay, I'm speaking from the heart. I think so. I really just like I really started like getting into like trying to figure out like development stuff and like getting into web stuff. I it's been maybe like a year and a half, and like my background isn't in like CS or anything like that. So but I was just really drawn to it because like I originally got into everything because my friends and we were like trying to build a little project together, and so I wanted to learn how to do some like web development for that, and then just like fell in love with just kind of like making stuff and like working with and like collaborating with other people to make things and like it just felt natural that if I was gonna dive into Web3 and like figure out Solana, like I would want that to be a really big part of my experience. And so, like like echoing everything that that John and Matt have said about like how approachable Orca is as a community on Solana. Like that just felt that kind of just like happened for me in that. Like I didn't really expect that of Orca coming in. Like it's not something that I knew about Orca before joining, but it was just like something that like kept me in the community and like kept me excited about building on Orcanauts and yeah.
Yeah, for me, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's cool because you do need a community to support your protocol, your project. And one of the things that I like about Orca is just how user-friendly and easy the interface is. And that dovetails nicely with the fact that they are user-friendly. They are, pushing these educational aspects of understanding DeFi, of using the blockchain. And these are critical for onboarding the next 5 million, 10 million users of this blockchain. So I think it's all great, and it's a relatively safe space that you can play. And who else are you going to trust when you want to find out how to do some DeFi? You've got to go back to your community. I've operated in a space where helping put together the DGen Ape Academy's DAO, we often mint a lot. And there's been, I think every single one of us has suffered rug pulls where, projects disappear. And so wading out of the sort of pool that's Orca and into the wider world, there are a lot of traps to fall into. So it's always good to have a great community that is education focused, that you can rely on to teach you about DeFi, to teach you about NFTs, and to also, help protect you in most ways.
Yes, so when I jumped into it, I didn't really know what to expect. I hadn't had much experience, or haven't had any experience minting, and I was thinking about portals and this one at the same time. And for Orca, I like that Orca was attached to an established DEX that I had already been using, and also like that it was pretty transparent about, or it was completely transparent about where the money was going. And then it was a little bit surprised when I got in afterwards, and people were kind of expecting like some kind of surprise of like some kind of utility that hadn't been announced yet. But when I jumped in, so I am a software developer, and I'm trying to expand my skill set and stay relevant. So I wanted to do that in a more fun way than just doing irrelevant projects. So my vision of what these NFT communities were like was that people would jump in and start trying to contribute. So that's kind of the expectation I had at the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that Adi and I believe some other people in the community had the same kind of idea, and I hope we can continue to build some stuff like my kind of dream is if we could do some kind of art project that's in real life, so you can take the family to some major city and show something that the Orcanauts have built.
Oh, that would be sweet. Yeah,
maybe in the future sometime.
Yeah, we've seen
like
people.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. We've seen people from, I think there were like a few users, maybe they're based out of Indonesia. They've like purchased, they've minted Orca NFTs and they've like literally printed them out and framed them and put them in their rooms, kind of like a physical gallery. So I thought that was really sweet. And I've seen kind of users on Twitter kind of atting us and saying that, Orca is their first NFT, and they also bought one for their boyfriend or for their girlfriend as their first NFT. So those are like really sweet things to see. But I think you're right. There is a little bit. There are a few things that you guys touched on. Also, Saint touched on. So about like there's a little bit of a tension between kind of how a community what a community should be about in order to keep it kind of active and going. I think maybe because Orcanauts is attached to Orca DEX, a lot of people are expecting financial utility, even though we've never mentioned it when we're building Orcanauts. And we're very transparent about where the money is going. And actually, just a few weeks ago, I believe Aflatoon, the charity, has officially received all of our donations. So we had to go through a 501c3 in the US and then transfer over to them. And we were fully transparent about that. And Orca didn't make any money through the mint, and in fact Orca continues to invest with our fundraising money to make Orcanauts better, but still we have people kind of in the community asking about a direct financial incentive, which I think it's okay to happen, but there are some difficult things to manage about community sentiment, and I think I hope that as we're more consistent with kind of these community chats, with encouraging people to build on Orcanauts, I think everyone hopefully will realize that we are about community, about kind of the purposes that we've been very actively communicating about since the beginning. So yeah, I think Matt, you're right. We want to encourage more people to keep building on Orcanauts. Actually, if anyone in the audience or anyone in the community is interested to create soundtracks to the current mini game that you see that Adi and Matt and John has already put up on our main site, welcome to make a soundtrack or make a game of any sort. And we also have the Riptide prize with the Solana Riptide hackathon of making another game, maybe a slightly more complex game on top of Orcanauts, and there is a prize for that. So we are actively encouraging a lot of those things from the community. Yeah. So speaking of community, Saint, I think you received the community prize from Solana, right? I think John mentioned this to me.
Yeah, it's a biannual award where I think just people who have contributed to building communities in the Solana community are awarded it. I feel very lucky to have won that. I think there's so many contributors in the space, especially on the community front. So yeah, that was a nice one to get. Was
there like a particular? Oh, sorry, John, go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like you're underselling your contributions to the community. I think for those of you who don't know, Saints, like, there's a couple of puts together some really great Twitter threads, investigative, everything's on chain, right? So kind of talking about some of these NFT mints, like, I think, the Solana Souls thing, and just kind of highlighting some of the bad actors. And I think that's great, like, because it's on chain, you can kind of track all this stuff down. It's important to know because, this is the new space for a lot of people. But even before that, I think the whole, there was this whole thing around candy machines. So we used a candy machine for the Orcanauts mint as well. And one of the things that we didn't know, well, I think we knew, but didn't internalized was that there were people that were gaming the system. There were people that were taking advantage of those programs and taking advantage of how they were designed to like snipe mythical things, right? And so, I think Saint just like ran it down, figured out exactly who was taking advantage of it, and like I think that saved the ecosystem. Honestly, like I think it's such a huge part of it. And seeing that again as a builder, like just seeing how someone can go through all of that information and be able to like directly contribute to Candy Machine V2, and like all that stuff was critical, right? So
thank you.
I mean, the award was well deserved.
Thank you. When I look back at it, I realize, there's a lot of stuff that I've written, and it's purely out of passion for the system. I mean, I think I don't look to call out bad actors, but at the same time, like when I see kind of injustice and some crazy stuff going on, like people need to know. And a couple of the topics, if you check me out on Twitter at Saint Eclectic, my pin post basically has an index of almost like 40 plus articles of everything I've written. But there was wash trading that was done on Solana Exchange. They raised their own NFT project, 50,000 Sol, and then kind of just dumped their community completely, which is what you shouldn't do. And Orca is a prime example of what you should do. So you're in the right community. There was the Candy Machine bot. So look, I'm not a technical guy. I'm not a dev at all, but I know how to read the Sol scan. And with enough time and practice and training and tools, you can work together to really work out like where all the Sol is going. Because as John said, everything is on chain. So you can see who funded what account, what transactions are happening on their account. And we basically were able to forensically spot that during this mint, I mean, I wasted 50 tokens minting, right? And in not a single one of them did I get a rare. And, you could say part of it was just me feeling sad about it. But then someone said, wait a minute, why is this account full of these ultra rare things? And not a single common was in the account. It was literally 5 ultra rare NFTs. And the odds of that were like infinitesimal. It was 0.1% times 0.1% times 0.1% times 0.1% times 0.1%. So, because they also didn't have any commons, right? I mean, if they minted 10,000, yeah, of course. But they only minted 5, and they got 5 ultra rares. So then we spotted another 5 or 6 accounts, and it turns out that they were all linking back to one financing account, and then we linked that back through another 2 or 3 wallets until we found the person's wallet. I already had a bit of a suspicion of who it was. The wallet name confirmed it, because sometimes people like to in a moment of vanity pick a wallet name that's close to the actual handle, or change their handle to their wallet name. And then we found on Twitter that he had posted about that wallet address when he went minting for the People Pleaser auction. So, immediately we realized that it was not only just someone in the community, but it was someone in a leadership position on the community.
Oh, wow.
Then I just gathered the council. We had an emergency vote. We kicked him out, blocked him completely. And look, you can always come back on alternative accounts, and he has. But then again, obviously discovered and booted. But that whole work led to the pausing of the mint. It led to, I think, some Metaplex guys working on creating Candy Machine version 2, which has its issues, but basically stopped this issue. And, what the technical issue was that you could, if you knew how to read and use the CLI on the blockchain, you could essentially pull up the order in which the Candy Machine would be spitting out NFTs. And that's how you determine, there's a mythic coming up. And then the crazy thing was that, look, there's more than one actor doing this, but he actually outbotted everybody because he had perfected the methods by that stage. And so when a super mythic was coming, he would spam the crap out of the site, slow it down completely so that nobody could mint. And then he would spam it on the other side so that he could mint. And that was how he had like a 99% success rate, essentially, on the mint. And he minted 1.6% of the 20,000 supply, and every one of them was a super rare.
Oh, wow. How long did it take you to figure this out? And to put this whole thing to an end?
Well, it took us about a weekend to figure
Okay.
out like the tracing,
Yeah.
and there were several groups of people. But obviously, by the time we had figured out that it was going, there was already like he'd already bought like 200 tokens. So it wasn't like, unfortunately it wasn't. Actually, he had only bought it about 100, but then when we alerted the team, I think the team were traveling or something like that, so they didn't get a chance to shut the mint down sooner.
That's cool. Would you say that's like your most memorable kind of experience in crypto so far, or there's like many, many others like this?
You know what the crazy thing is? It's only been like 5 or 6 months, and there probably have been many others.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that was probably one of the most memorable experiences. In the lead up to that, there was the fair launch protocol, where for this Trash Panda launch, you could set a price of what you wanted to bid between $24 and $2,400. And some people were very angry that they're like, oh, you're so greedy. Like, why would you put a higher end? Because they thought that the auction would go off at 2,400. But the thing is, like, the previous FLPs were a very small range, like between 200 and 300. And everyone always voted for 300 because they thought that the highest price would definitely get them a token. That's only true to an extent, because the way the fair launch protocol works is that if enough people bid low, it's going to go to it takes the median, and that's going to be the price of the token. So we basically engineered this community effort where we said, hey guys, hashtag bid small, and everyone did. And in the end, the Trash Panda tokens are $24 each. So that was like a huge wave of euphoria, because all of a sudden everyone could enter and buy a Trash Panda token for $24 or 0.1 sol. Versus all the other mints that were coming out at 1 sol, which was 240 at that time. And so that was a really, really good result. But then what happened after that was that people made a market for these tokens that we won, and the mint took it was 1 week between that happening and the mint happening. So in that 1 week, a market was made, and that bad actor was able to buy up as many tokens as he could, so that he could enact his plan. So it's really crazy, that story. Like, it really is like from the highs of a community coming together to set the price low, to basically that being taken advantage of and everyone being kind of stuffed over.
Yeah. I mean, crypto world's just like any other worlds, right? There's like people who are very community centric, and there's people who want to take advantage of the kindness. But
Oh yeah. And I think you have to just always be very aware that crypto is adversarial. I think that this was my point before. Like, the Orca community is quite a safe place, and I appreciate and I like that. But that it should exist to educate people about how dangerous the outside world can be.
Yeah, I think here I really want to give a shout out to all of our community team members. So we have a few of them in the audience right now, and all of our community managers are awesome, and they're working super diligently to make Orca, like Discord, Telegram, and all of our other channels, a very safe and playful place to be at. I think it's very difficult to kind of maintain that mentality, especially with some of the price turbulence. And also, I think today you're seeing some downturns because of geopolitics and this and that. But kind of keeping our optimism and kind of staying with our purpose and our vision, I think is a very difficult thing, especially when it comes to kind of talking about it with such a diverse community that we have at Orca. So a huge shout out to our community managers, and also our community members that are helping us kind of keep that tone and keep that atmosphere. I think I will just ask my one very, very last question, and then if anyone in the audience wants to kind of raise their hand and join our chat, please feel free to do so. So my last question for you guys is, I kind of asked this to Saint just earlier, which is like, what has been like your most memorable kind of experience since you've joined crypto so far? So I will share mine while you guys kind of think of an answer to my question. So for me, I think it's actually very closely related to Orcanauts, and that's a part of my reason behind my decision to continuously be involved and lead kind of our future direction with Orcanauts. So for me, it's about the donation itself. So a little bit more about me. Before I joined crypto, I was doing operations in a design consultancy. But before that, I was actually in education. So I've worked with a lot of students who are either interested to kind of pursue their education overseas, or are just kind of interested to maybe develop themselves and kind of learn who they are and how they could navigate kind of the real life as they grow up. So one of those students actually told me about Aflatoon, and they told me that they went to a migrant school in China and taught a Aflatoon curriculum to a lot of kind of migrant children in China who really had very little support from their families, had very little idea of what their future options would look like, except for kind of the normal kind of trying to get into college and then maybe like try to get a white collar job. And just get by, right? But the Aflatoon curriculum that they were teaching these kids kind of allowed them to kind of gain more confidence and also more ownership over their wealth and over kind of their direction. So they could discover that there's a lot that a person can do, and it's not just following the status quo, and kind of control, having an ownership over your wealth is like a first step towards that. So kind of learning that from my student really touched me, but it's been like many years since that story. So I heard about Aflatoon from that student, I think at least 4 years ago. But then it just so happened that when Ori and I and a few others were talking in the team, we were thinking about kind of making financial literacy and crypto financial literacy a focus for our Orcanauts Mint donation. And I just remember this story. And through that old student who I'm still in touch with, we kind of tracked down the distributor of the curriculum, and then we reached out to Aflatoon directly, and we got on a few calls with the CEO and the team. And then we were able to kind of convince them that crypto education is something that their students need. So that's how they decided to dedicate all of this donation to developing a brand new crypto curriculum. So I think having that experience of seeing my past and kind of arguably my future kind of coming in full circle because of crypto, connecting education, connecting kind of allowing more young people to have ownership over their wealth and to upskill themselves and to learn how to navigate the digital world. I think that's a very, very memorable moment for me. So that's me.
That's awesome.
I'll say that my memorable moment is also pretty tied to that as well. I think the night before the Orcanauts launch, I was I stayed up all night trying to get that whitelist to work. And one of those things, there's some saying about drowning in success. Part of the
is that the
Orca
water theme continuing in that analogy?
Yeah. Orca just has so many users and so many people in that community that they really wanted to benefit, and that threw a wrench in some of my plans for the whitelisting in the first phase of the mint. And but I stayed up, as late as I possibly could to do that. I don't think I got any sleep on the night of the mint, for better or for worse. So, memorable moment, kind of seeing that. But I think, just seeing the outcome of that, seeing that one that I think everyone who wanted an Orcanaut got one. One of my buddy's kids, that was like their first NFT, which is wild. And then, seeing the donation going to such a great cause. I think it's, I really care about the work that I do, and then the energy I put into the work that I do, and to see it kind of turn around to something more charitable, and I thought that was wonderful.
Yeah, that was a super intense night. I was actually out with my friends, like trying to go to a club, but did not enjoy it because I was on the phone and like checking Discord and trying to like support our community and all that. But it was super memorable nonetheless.
Lots of lessons learned.
Yeah.
I definitely want to do that again.
Yeah. How about you guys?
I think for me, the mint as well, I was on the other side of that. So that was my first time to try one. I'd kind of followed along with the portals one the day before and realized that you have to have multiple computers and try to spam it the best the best you can. So got kind of adrenaline going to be able to get them in, and then it got delayed a couple times. It just kind of ramped things up even more. But yeah, it was pretty exciting to finally get the Orcanauts, and then it's kind of amazing that I wanted to build something on them, and that actually got the opportunity to do that. Yeah, I think the other memorable thing was Audie. I think Audie's really the one that brought me into the grant. I think the art is what really caught the attention, but then I've been doing some of the background stuff, and it was a really good opportunity. I'm thankful that he brought me in on that.
Thanks. And yeah, I think there are kind of like two memories that come to mind for me. One is just like the feeling. I'd say the first one is like the feeling when we first released the Orcanaut Pixelator, and like people were like posting the pixelated Orcanauts and like kind of gushing about it. Like that was really cool. It was really cool to like have built the thing, and to like also like have like, okay, so Matt is probably I think Matt's the first person that I've ever like worked with who I just like knew nothing about. And so like the fact that like we were able to work together so well and like make this thing that people enjoyed was really, really cool. Like I just couldn't believe that it actually worked. But it actually worked out okay. So that was a really cool experience. And then the other experience that kind of sticks out in my mind is like, and it didn't happen on Solana, but before I got into Solana, I was playing around on another chain called Tezos, just because it was like much more affordable. I think at the time, when I was deciding what chains to get into, Solana was like, I think it was like 30 something per token, and then for Tezos it was like 4 or 5, and I was like, well, I was like 4 is less than 30, so I got into Tezos, and it was actually really cool because like there was this kind of like indie marketplace for NFTs, or it was like a marketplace for just like really like indie NFTs, like anyone could just like upload a piece of work onto the marketplace, and it wasn't like centered around collections. It was more so centered around like individual like works of art, and it was called I think it was called Hen, which is like here and now, and it was like really, really cool. Like people would post these just kind of like weird NFTs, and like I was just having fun with it because you could mint them for like $3 or $4, and like I was just kind of like playing around with it and kind of trying to like guess at like how they set up the marketplace and like how they were building it, and like was talking to people in the community, and that was such a cool experience. And but then like towards the end of the fall, they announced that they were shutting down, and I remember being pretty bummed about that, and just like, okay, well by then I'd already been like pretty deep into Solana. I was like, okay, like Solana's really cool, like I still feel like there's a lot more to explore. And then like only like a couple weeks ago, someone tweeted from the account like some artwork that linked to the website, and I thought that they'd revived it. But what happened was that like a bunch of people from the community decided that they would try and take ownership of the marketplace from the person who just couldn't keep working on the project, and turn it into a DAO. And I thought that was so sick.
That's cool.
So,
Please send that
yeah.
link into the channel, into Orcanautical, so we can take a look.
Yeah, I don't know if the current one is up yet. I think they're still like setting up the contracts and building the front end. But yeah, let me look around. I'm in their Discord, so I can ask around and see if there's like something that they have to share.
I think like just seeing these like very encouraging community stories just really like lights up my day, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the most memorable, and I've been lucky to go through a few things, was actually with Cryptograph. I was really surprised. Like, we built this really cool interactive pixel canvas. It's still going. If you want to get on it, just go to Magic Eden, type up crypto, GRAF, and you can get one and then start drawing straight away. And the second canvas, where we're going to fractionalize, the second one's going to start in 1 week. But the first one, the impact that it had, we weren't expecting people to draw as much as they did, and we filled the entire canvas in 4 days. And what you saw was people jumping on Discord, talking with each other, coordinating, and saying, "Hey, listen, I'm running out of paint." Because when you have NFTs, you've got like 500 pixels to paint, and then it replenishes slowly over the course of 10 hours. And some people would blow all their paint straight away, and they're like, I'm trying to draw a Little Mermaid for my daughter. And people would come to their rescue and start drawing it together and coloring it in. And that was really gratifying for me, because we'd created something with, some of the highest levels of interaction and engagement that we didn't really expect was going to be the case. And in the end, we had 1,300 people paint using 1,600 NFTs. They put to pixel 2.5 million pixels, and they basically painted the entire canvas 2.5 times over in 7 days. So the end result is wild, and that was probably one of the most memorable things for me.
Did you get time lapse of it?
We did, but it's hard. It takes a lot of time to put together, because we took a screenshot every 5 minutes, and each screenshot's like 3 megabytes. So over the course of 7 days, it's almost like 20 gigabytes. So we're trying to process that now.
Yeah, I think initially Ori painted like a small Orca logo somewhere, but now I can't even find it. I think it got painted over.
No, we managed to get one up again.
Oh, okay.
The easiest way for you to look at that is to go to the Twitter account. So at cryptograph_art.
Okay.
And you can see in the pin post that I think in the middle, just where the baby Yoda is, you can see a little Orca there.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm a holder of your NFT, so I'll probably go do some painting on my weekends. So
yeah, it's incredibly relaxing. I didn't actually even expect this, but just applying pixels is somehow very relaxing.
Yeah. So I want to leave some time for any questions we might have in the audience. So I'll pause for now, and let's see if anyone who are listening are interested to kind of join in. You can either post the question in Orcanautical, or you can kind of raise your hand and verbalize the question or chat with us. Okay, no worries. So then last question from me, and then we can maybe wrap up. So my question for you guys is, what are we thinking about building next? So maybe before I kind of throw that question at you guys, Adi and Matt, just one piece of information. So we've been chatting with the Savannah team. So one of our community members actually, I think, posted one of the Savannah tweets in Orcanautical about kind of Orcanaut, like a pixelated Orcanaut being featured in their kind of metaverse. So we are evaluating whether it makes sense for kind of like Orcanauts to have more of a presence in Savannah. But I actually told their founders about you guys and the pixelator that you guys created. So if you aren't sure what you're building next, so the Savannah team is a team that is interested in talking to you guys and being connected.
Wow, yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah, I think So yeah, Matt and I have actually we were working on a little game with the Pixelnauts, trying to build out something a little bigger. Like
Oh,
a little bit of a bigger
awesome!
project.
And you will submit for Riptide?
Yeah, that's what we're aiming for.
Awesome.
That's what we're shooting for. But yeah, I think I saw someone post about the Savannah thing a while ago.
Yeah.
Like, back when we were just kind of like throwing around ideas. So yeah, I would be interested to see what they're thinking.
Cool.
I did see that. I actually jumped into their world just the other day because I saw that they do have a kind of a Pixelnaut, but it doesn't match your traits and things like that. So
Right.
interesting to see.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to connect them
evolution of that
with
system.
you guys. Yeah.
Right.
How about Saint and John?
Yeah.
What are you guys gonna build next?
Oh, I'm taking a break, man. After building cryptograph, it's as you guys know, developing and building a community as well as a product it takes time, a lot of effort. And once you build, you want to make sure that you continue to deliver to your community rather than continue to sort of do other stuff. So for me, it's very much around delivering our promises around the canvas, getting one-of-ones and showcasing them to paint on it. And rewarding the faith of all of our holders who want to do something new and unique. And yeah, so it's mostly building on that, continuing to work on the DGen DAO to see if they need help, although they're starting to mature as a DAO now, so that's a little less time, so that's great.
For me, there's some interesting things coming down the Orcanauts pipe. I won't spoil too much, but doing some stuff there. But thinking broadly about the ecosystem and trying to understand some of the problems that builders have, and understand how we can solve some of those problems. I think we all here are likely crypto native to some extent, but as Say mentioned, there's millions and millions of people that don't know what wallets are and don't know how to GT systems. So like, how can we bridge that gap? So I've been thinking a little bit about that and exploring some ideas on how to make that process much more approachable for folks.
Yeah. So on the Orca side, I think you guys know that we have all been focusing a lot on working on Whirlpool's launch. So Orcanaut holders will receive beta testing access, so earlier than our general users. So we will appreciate you guys kind of trying out Whirlpools when it's out, hopefully very soon, and then kind of sharing your notes to help us improve that new concentrated liquidity product. So yeah, that's what we're all building. I think if there are no more questions for each other, or from the audience, then we will wrap this up. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks everyone for showing up. It's been wonderful chatting with you all, working with you all, and yeah, I'm sure we'll keep building with each other.
Look forward to it. Thank you for having us.
Thanks, it's been fun.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
also, I wanted to say I dropped in the Orcanautical chat the name of the community. It's called Tia now.
Oh, we have a question from Ethan actually. What's up, Ethan? Hello?
So it's not actually a question. I just want to say a very big thank you to the Orcanaut team, the people behind the Orcanaut, and I just want to say a great job, you guys. Well done. And then I know that in the future we're gonna get there. It's just that we have to take it step by step. So you guys have taken the first initiative by building a very fun game. I've been playing the game for a while now. It's very nice. So this tells me what's actually in the future, and this actually give some of us, the owners, confidence that at least there's future with these NFTs. Okay, so we're really really proud of you guys. Good work.
Thanks, Ethan.
Yeah, thanks, Ethan. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you, Ethan.
Yeah, Ethan, I think I've seen you in some of our other AMAs, so thank you for continuously participating and supporting the community. If you have any ideas of how you want to contribute, my DM is always open. Feel free to chat with me or any of our community managers. So, yeah, thanks for joining.
All right, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you all here at the next Orcanautical AMA in about a month time, and then we will see you in the Discord channels, guys.
See ya.
Okay, that's a wrap. Thanks, guys.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.